Hello, all ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a approach to criminality that can burden us a little bit and unburden our fears of the future as they may come. As far as criminality goes on a national perspective, as a federal mandate would occur, if a criminal approach is taken federally to prosecute everyone under the same circumstance with the same effective power, as in, let's say you have assaulted someone and you go to jail for the same term mandated federally across the board, irrelevant of state dictates, then that would only go into effect once the federal mandate has occurred. So commit a crime before that, as much as it is recorded or understood as having been done, it is not appropriate to go back in time and search the record books for every crime that's been committed throughout historical context. Everyone has done something bad. To go back in time to find everyone just because it's a federal mandate now put in place is it's not possible, guys. Legality stands as it is. When Roe v. Wade had occurred, that is when legality federally was made to stand throughout all the states, 50 of them. And now that we have made null Roe v. Wade federally, you can statewide make changes to these structures. It wasn't before, and it was certainly not after. Now, the state of Texas can say it's illegal. Before, it could not. And so, even though it wanted to, and historically, those people still got away with the changes that they made to their bodies and the babies that did get aborted. This is not a novel context of approach, as they say. If let's say to the context of a man who has killed someone, and now we want to make a national mandate to put this guy in the most severest context in fear of his life. Let's say at the front lines of some unorderly sort of war, then that would be a mandate put in place, and then could you only apply those measures to that person. You can't actually just say, it's done now, we're going to just take everyone who's been convicted of a crime, who's been charged and sentenced to their sentence legally, to just all of a sudden transition to this new novel experience. Unless, of course, it is more appealing to that person to appeal to the court on behest of this novel approach mandated federally. Then, by chance, if the judge agrees to these novel approaches, which of course he must, as a federal appeal is the law of the land, that judge must accept your desires to gather this newfound whatever the approach may be federally, as criminality is, it's a punishment regardless. You're going to sentence out. So if you're going to do 25 years and you get this novel approach, as any man who has assaulted someone, go to the military barracks, sustain your burden, do your 2-year sentence as a probationary term. If it beats the 5 to 7, mandated federally, only after that time can that appeal be made and that change occurred. You can't be busted for something you did 5 years ago. I am in tune with my own internal desires and my own hatred for certain acts as abuses of humanity, I would call them. I am totally against the act of rape, and this is something I'm not even willing to encounter in my fondest thoughts of letting that man sit in 2 years of jail at all. It is not. It is an approach I am unwilling to take and unfond of. Extreme measures go. You have done something. You took that person's ability to hold on to their own identity. You took their identity away from them. So you have no right to live, as far as I can tell. And still saying that and having historical context, knowing what you've done, does not give me the appropriate right to go searching you out and condemning you, no matter how willing and wanton I may be. You have to have committed the crime, and legality stands. When I've caught you, now, as legal measures have allowed me to do, I can condemn you only to the withstanding hold of the legal measures. I can't go past them. No man can or should. You shouldn't just... That is criminality as 101. A government does these things. You know why? Because a government taxes your property. That is why they do these things. To keep that property safe and to keep you... That's why you pay taxes, to maintain that law and order that you are committed to. You can't just have a gangster come up to your house and say, because I think this is evil, I'm going to do these things. That is why that is an assault and not a government officer doing those things to you. They're two different identities. And maintaining that semblance of reality, I would suggest highly that no man knows what he can do until he accomplishes these goals. Bill Clinton was in office. He sat there and he said, that woman did not have sex with me, guys. She just did. And I want you to know that all the way through to the end. And neither did he get away with these. He got kicked out of office just by the scandalous nature of the act, but there was no evidence to abound in his favor or against. I mean, did we see any proof that he did do it? I mean, she said it, he said it. Who's to say what happened? Again, guys, go back to criminality. We don't know if he really did it. Although any president will say, God damn it right, dude. You know, my woman knows how powerful I am. And she knows my days are good and long. And she knows that these women are going to do anything for this guy. You might as well live with the fact that she didn't even say anything about it, dude. That was the President Bill Clinton right there saying teep tee too too. I didn't tell her what to do. She hopped on it just like any other woman would do if she was wanting that promise of fortunes, as they say. There's no bad idea in this man's head. He literally just had fun. And then the scandalous nature of Republicans came in and said, he's so evil, we want him out. You know why? Because George Bush had to come in. And George Bush, I'm glad you did. Because George Bush would say, you're right if you're right, you're wrong if you're wrong. And I may agree with you thinking I know everything about that moment, but I may disagree with you when I've learned of the stupidity of your argument. And I am still the best man for this job. And that is right. Every president has been the best man for his job. Right now, extremist measures are stagnating and staying consistent with where we're at. As a child is getting shot in school, we can't explain why, but yet we can do the same things we always do and still have good favorable security. As a government promises to the people, you are given your gun rights. It's a guarantee. If a threat comes your way, you are allowed to protect yourself. You are not disavowed of your gun rights. Let's do what's right. Let's make sure that the children are safe, that your child doesn't take a gun to school and shoot someone, or that some crazy bum who thinks his teachers didn't do him right shoots up a school. These are ridiculous ideas that have gone into people's heads that we can just live with what's happening and be okay with it. You know why? Every politician has to, it's an obligation, has to kowtow to someone. Who can win the influence of the people? Who can influence everyone according to their own best ideas? That is a few people, guys. They're the exceptional elite already stationed, willing to take sides above and beyond the current party system, which is gubernatorial. How many Ocasio-Cortezes are there? And how many Green New Deals succeeded? Who set in motion to go against them? And for what? Party lines. We are a united American system. There is no Republican or Democrat. When you see the ideas of kowtowing, you understand what it is. It's a play on power of financial freedom and security. These government officials ought not be held to that dilemma. You know why? Because if you're gonna pay me to obey this idea, I am going to. I am going to obey this idea of yours fundamentally. But who cares? I can take your money anyways. That is the power of a government. It's people that are not getting dealt the right hand. If you cannot press anyone, then you are not a government. By default, you are a cowardly, I would call it a whore. That is what a whore is. She can only be bought and paid for as long as she has something to sell. And that is not a government. A government is an oppressive entity. It is succeeding only in its ability to gather the discipline and dignity of the people. You are the paying property taxes. We serve you. And how do we do that? We tell everyone else to bend the goddamn knee and pay us. You're still going to do it. You're not going to do it. We are your government. And that is a message for any Ocasio-Cortez willing to stand against her own system of abuse. She's being an abused woman. No Donald Trump is enough. No Marjorie Taylor Greene is enough. And no Joe Biden or Bill Clinton or Senator, some guy on the Democrat, Nancy Pelosi, is enough. You know why? A united ordinance is something we can all agree on. Something we can all agree on and willingly gather the powers needed. A team effort is something that has not occurred. You know why? We still kowtow to these party lines. What happened to the American system? A divided nation cannot stand was said by an American man, guys. A divided nation. A divided nation. We are divided at the seams of our towers. Let's remember that, guys. You are Republican. You are Democrat. You are a patriot of the United States, and you stand for the Statue of Liberty, you stand for the Declaration of Independence, you stand for the Proclamation of whatever they call it, and you stand for the Continental Congress or the Constitution. Favor one, favor all. These ordinances, some will like, some will not, and we favor the general public's well-being. That's what we do. A criminal comes in with a gun and says, hey, you got this, I'm going to take it. That's a criminal. A government says that same thing, but with a little respect and nobility. You know why? Because it says it's going to do these things. It ought to have the people's favor in its mind. An elitist system is naturally better for everyone. An elite government is not going to kowtow to anyone. Who does better stand for the people? John F. Kennedy or some guy selling Coca-Cola and turning it into plastic cans so that he can save $1 on the Coca-Cola glass can so the driver doesn't have to deliver it and recover it every day. More work for everyone across the board, you say? Well, plastic cans did take that away, and now you just got garbage cans everywhere instead of people working and getting paid dollars to do the same things. So it's easy stuff if you're willing to accept that we are an experiment, that we have stagnated only in our laziness to siphon out what we knew was wrong. It's time to become what we were always afraid of, elitist. We are not a monarchy. We are not singular in nature. We are a team spirit. No American dream has been accomplished by one Rockefeller. He accomplished one dream, which is the oil dream. No one else accomplished the battery dream. You know who did? Maybe a gigafactory will. You know who accomplished the monopoly on wholesales? Only Walmart could. if it was given a right to play this game all the way through to the end. These are team spirits, guys. They always evolve naturally. The president is a stand of the people's voice. He's just a normal man who grew up with you guys. As any man would say, I got drunk on Tuesday and I went to work on Sunday and I got everything done and I got promoted and my wife is happy. Now that's a president you guys want. Other than some guy who says, I'm going to pretend to be something I'm not. And that is Bill Clinton. Which is easily the best story I could have ever heard. Guys, man, you know what happened? On a Wednesday, this girl came into my office. And you know how I do, living lavish and good? She entered the privileged domains and she got away with it. And I accept that I did these things. And my wife is okay with it. So long as she is, I expect you guys to be. That is your president. And I say, I stand with these acts. I don't condone them. I condemn myself for having given in to the fault of good joys and humbly accept that maybe this was wrong in my wife's eyes, as a privileged man would say. If she doesn't care, I don't give a damn, and I'm going to keep getting away with it. So that is your president's voice. Accept that as one that you ought to have, not some. Every president says, I am capable and best for the job. This day, I am the best guy, and I will land this plane every time. That is a pilot, and that is a pilot's word. That is the only word you ever need.